Modernity, it's a scam. It's a farce. Or at least that's how I feel, in my personal opinion. I feel like in the age of 2K technology, the metaverse, the advent of artificial intelligence, things of that nature, um, we are at a disadvantage. History has not been kind to us, to say the least. And by we, I mean, black African people. Um, of course, this can apply to anybody. Feel free to apply it to yourself. But when I say we, that's who I'm speaking about. And we are inadvertently, not by our own choice or decision, prisoners of history, of the past, things that happened. Not that I'm going to go harp on the past, because we know what happened. Slavery, racism, colorism, all that kind of bullshit. We have been under the illusion that things of modernity are intentionally beneficial to us. And I don't mean only technology, but modernity as far as our way of thinking, right? Things like segregation. I mean, they were considered modern at the time. That was the thing, That was considered a path forward. That was what we were fighting for, including heroes like Frederick Douglass. Segregation. I mean, in retrospect, people like me and um, academic scholars and just historians in general can look at that shit and say, man, they must have been in a different mindset at that time, right? So modernity, as far as who we look up to, who we get our way of thinking from, so who we derive our knowledge from, and who we have available to derive our knowledge from, because there's so many black people in history, and our knowledge is just so limited because, I mean, back then we just weren't considered shit, right? So our knowledge, our writings, and the little that we did have, they got discarded or lost or thrown away because modernity at that time meant that it just meant that we weren't people. I mean, fuck, that's just how it was. When you think about scholars and writers and just regular people from the 18th and the 19th century whose records just got lost because at that time, which is modern, they didn't figure it was valuable enough to keep. So they were trapped in that time that they were in. They were prisoners. Of course, prisoners in a system of white supremacy, but also prisoners of time. So it made it hard to kind of see the horizon, right? Because when you're living in the present, you can't tell the future. It's impossible. So with that being said, it's important that we reflect and build on the past, because modernity, as it's defined now, it's not ours, and it's been actively used to oppress us by white folks, not only in a technological sense. Historically, archives, stories, records, they're all whitewashed. They probably got records from white ladies in the Great Plains from dating back from wherever the fuck. But historically, black people that means so much to us now. We can't even find. We don't even know their fucking birth dates because records just weren't or they weren't kept like that. You know what I'm saying? So just think about modernity not as something to move towards, but as something that's evolving. You know what I'm saying? And something that we can help build on from the past, because that's the only way we can move forward is by building on the past. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I don't have a lot of faith in black African consciousness at this time in the world. I just don't. It is what it is. So modernity is a farce. Um, it's another extension of white supremacy. They use it in a bunch of ways to fuck over us, technologically, historically, linguistically. That's a whole nother topic. But that's just how I feel, man. Uh, it's an impromptu video, like all of them are, but that's just how I feel. If I got anything else, I'll add it into the about me description box. So if you got any thoughts, let your boy know, man.